This is the 21st season of Bass Talk Live. BTL is presented by Bass Cat Boats, Strike King Lures, AFTCO, Pro Guide Batteries, Spro, Gamakatsu, The Bass Tank, Denali Rods, Beatdown Outdoors, and Sunline.
BTL coming at you.
Good morning and welcome to another exciting edition of BTL Bass Talk Live, where we are going to talk about bass fishing. It occurred to me, I like have the lights off when I start and I come in. It occurs to me I need to just do a highlight reel of me coming into the studio before the show and then fighting with my headset and audio cords before I go live. Seems like a morning. I've got like one of those like roller chairs, and then it does not matter how I have tried to manufacture it, one of these cords, and there's like 50 of them that are all like super organized down here, one of those cords inevitably ends up under the roller of my chair, and then I can't roll, and then I'm afraid that I just cut my audio out. But anyway, today's was a particularly tangled mess, which kind of leads into today's show. We've had a lot of what I would say high caliber guests, high quality discussions, a lot of information in the world of professional bass fishing. Had a really good 2-hour chat with Mike McClellan, who's been in this industry for a long time on the fishing side, 8 bass wins and over $2 million in earnings. Have had Chase Anderson, the CEO of Bass, on. We've talked international fishing. We've talked a lot. And I don't think it would come as a surprise to many that when I am not on BTL talking about bass fishing, I'm usually on the phone with someone talking about bass fishing in the industry. And one of the guys that has been on the show for a long time is Johnny Schultz from Fish the Moment. So I've had some interesting discussions with him, and I wanted to do an open mic day. So in the second half of the show, I'm going to bring Johnny in, maybe another guest, just to kind of chat about the industry, about what's going on from a tournament side, from an industry side. And then I'm going to open up the StreamYard lines. So the direct link to the show is in the YouTube description of the show. And if you have a insightful question, comment, thoughts, and want to, I think the word is pontificate, extrapolate, discuss that live on air, have a decent internet signal. If you're on a Mac, go through Chrome. If you're on a PC, you can just click it. If you're on your iPhone, you can just click it. Preferably no one who's like driving and logging in, like just like pull over before we do that. But if you have a thought, want to discuss anything, log in the second half of the show, and I'll see you, and we can take some viewer and listener feedback. So let's bring Johnny in. Look at this. Johnny always dialed in. He is like the trendiest, I guess, bait designer, company bait owner, media guy, YouTube. I mean, look at that. Like you look like literally like a YouTube tutorial on how to set up a trendy studio.
Hey, this took a lot more effort than you would think. We actually painted the entire office black. It was a whole thing, but I think it turned out pretty well. Speaking of your studio, Matt, I was in the back room of the chat or the StreamYard thing, and I noticed that you have like a $150 glide bait just hanging on a rack back there. I remember when you used to like be small time and you would keep your glide baits like in like a coffin case. They'd be like bubble wrap and everything. And now you're big time. And you just have $100 glide baits just hanging out. Like what happened, man?
So
looked away for a second, and
I've shown this one before. So this is the Negotiator Blue Alumni, but unlike a lot of people with glides, this thing is actually like beat up. Like I've got a ton of hook rash, but I threw it to the point. And I've had this for like 9 or 10 years, but I threw it to the point where the hook rash on the side kind of got through the top part. So you can see like the foil on the back, but the front, my foil came off of the sides, and I'm afraid that it's going to get like waterlogged or different. So, I'm actually going to take this bait to the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame banquet in September 25th. And, Frank Scalish is going to be at that Hall of Fame. They're auctioning off some of the hand-painted lures for the 25th anniversary edition. Anyway, I believe I have talked him into repainting this negotiator for me. So it'll be a one-of-one, an OG Roman-made negotiator that is painted by Frank Scalish. And then, it says like Roman made down there in the corner underneath it. I'm going to try to get him to put Frank Scalish right there. And the only problem is this thing is a fish catcher. Like, I mean, it is like I've caught fish in tournaments on it, like a lot of fish, probably 15 fish in opens and Toyotas and local tournaments, which is a lot for a glide. Yeah. But I doubt it'll see the water after that paint job gets back. And then just a bunch of other like random stuff up there. Like this one's pretty cool. This is a you remember when Zell used to be into like totally Zell rolling and stuff. So this is
did he add that little hook, the middle hook? Did he add that for
you? So that's a 2-hook silent spook right there, and you can see where he drilled the hole out, added another one, and added a third to it with a little bit of fingernail polish. So that is straight out of the Zell rolling tackle box. So just some little stuff that has some meaning to it. Nice. I've been trying to figure out how to use this like with forward facing on small fish. Now it's not like a name brand or anything, but this has really intrigued me.
Ooh.
It's like got some weight to it. So it's got elements of a spoon. It's got elements of a jerk bait. It's got elements of a rattle trap. It's got all sorts of little things. I've caught some crappie on it, just dropping it in the muddy water because it's silent, but it's like, I don't know. There's something to this. I just have not figured out what it is yet.
Interesting. I like that. The thing looks nice.
Think of like little finger shad in the fall and stuff. You know how they get up on top you like hook one and only be like 2-3 inches long.
Yeah. Yeah. Schoolers when they get really picky and schooled up, that looks sweet.
Yeah. So, and then
got some juice back there.
Oh, and then I got some juice that you introduced me to. It's on the market now. Can I show it?
Yeah, you can.
Okay. I lost the pin on it, but it's like the little itty bitty glide.
Yep, that's the Bent Bill Customs little bender. You can get them at Tulsa Tackle and
they had them at Tulsa Tackle. They're like $120. They're well worth it. I think they were maybe on the front end of that kind of smaller high end glide bait train. But one of the toughest things to do is to make a correctly functioning baby glide. Would you not agree with that? That actually like behaves the way it's supposed to?
So I've thrown like 5 or 6 different ones that are that small, like baby size. So that thing is basically like the size of a 110 Vision 110. So it's a really small bait, and the drawing power on the thing is crazy. The guy who actually made it, I was fishing down the bank with the owner of Hook, Line, and Sinker in Rogers, Arkansas, and Travis, who owns the company, this is before he kind of started selling them. He was on the bank, and we're fishing down this one bank close to Prairie Creek Marina, and he catches a 5-pounder and a 4-pounder off the bank. And we're like, what just happened? We're fishing in front with like, we have live scope in the water. We're going after it, and we can't catch anything. And he's like, dude, just turn that microwave off is what he called it. He's like, just let me get in the boat. He jumps in the back of the boat. He has 2 of these things that he's made. He gives me one. He gives Aaron the other one, and we start throwing. And we catch 30 fish on Beaver Lake. Like Beaver Lake is not the best lake in the world for bass fishing, but we catch 30 fish in 2 hours, and we had 18 pounds. And we literally were just fan casting out in the middle and just wrecking them. And like, it's one of the best baits out there for just throwing out. You just wind it in nice and slow. And like, if there's bait fish up in the area, those fish will come up 10, 15 feet to come crush it. And I actually find it works really well without forward facing. I just go out there and just throw it around, and they crush that thing. That thing is so good.
What is it? What was the name of that again?
It's the Little Bender, Bent Bill Customs. You can get them at TulsaTackle.com. Tulsa Tackle actually has an online site now where they're selling those. It's like the only place you can actually get them.
Yeah, but, I think KGB is also doing some drops on a smaller. That like there's a bunch of, and then there's like the clutch. Aren't they doing a smaller one with clutch too now and stuff? Yeah. So that kind of the trendy. I'll show a couple more things and I get your thoughts on it. Is there anything worse than having like a jerk bait that's like your jerk bait, like dialed in, like a jerk bait that's like a crank bait that's just a magic jerk bait? However, it always never fails
There it is.
That tail cracks on it, and all of a sudden you're like, what is wrong with it? And then you realize that back thing kind of wiggles, and it's like 3 years, and it's like you lost your best friend.
Yep. Or it, for some reason, just happens to spring a leak because you do something or other. I have like 4 of those Vision 110s, like +1, +2, regular Vision 110, where it's like you catch a bunch of fish on it. It's the deal. It's weighted perfectly for a certain time of the year. Like you love it. And then, yeah, that is a bummer.
Are you a suspend dot guy?
No, so I like to add a extra split ring to the front.
That's a Mike McClellan secret. We just had him on the show yesterday, Johnny.
Yeah, that's my deal. I like the split ring, and I have like all the sizes of split rings and add that because those suspend dots can fall off, but the split rings will stay on there pretty good.
Back when I was really not adventurous. What is it when you're like gung ho, when you're going after it? What's that called?
I don't know. You're wild and free, Matt.
No, but like when you're really just like overachieving. I guess that's it. When I was an overachiever, I would actually take the split ring and the hook off of that eye right there.
Yeah.
And then I would cut a small slit in the suspend dot, and then I would put it over that hook eye, and then bond it down with just a little coat of it, and then put the split ring and the hook back on. Does not move.
So I think that is an overachiever move, but what if like the water temperature goes up like 10 degrees and then it doesn't suspend at the same rate anymore? How do you adjust it?
Well, I typically do not like this jerk bait was not for a suspend jerk bait. Like this is the I wanted a sinking jerk bait that slowly sank, that had the action to where if they had a brush pile in 40, I could cast it to 60, reel it down with the +1, let it slowly sink, and then work it with the rod tip up to bring that jerk bait over the brush pile and pull the fish out of it.
Yep.
So I mean, I wasn't really worried about
that because you can actually hit the brush piles with the +2. And that
I've never gotten into the +2. It feels too much like a wet rag for me.
So it's hit the brush. That's the trick with it, because the bill is so long that you can knock the brush and knock like timber and stuff like that. And I'll just sink it down, but you can literally like hit the brush pile, and it's kind of scary because it's like a $25 jerkbait. But like that's the deal for me. And also the Spro makes the mixed stick +1, which is actually the same as the Megabass Vision 110 +2. And so this mixed stick +1 is the one I actually throw more, just because it's less expensive. It's like $10 less expensive, and so I don't feel as bad banging it off a brush. But yeah, Spro Mix Stick +1 is legit for that.
I had Mike on before, and I was telling him that mixed stick has gained a cult following amongst the jerkbait scopers on that brush that's less than 8 foot. There's something about that kind of heavier action to it, but then it draws fish out of brush piles and gets them to eat it better than the 110. It's pretty wild.
Mixed stick +1 is my number one scoping like brush pile jerkbait, and I have like 6 or 7 videos from the past couple of years where that's like all I was throwing and cracking them on it.
Yeah. So you are, let's do just a little bit of housekeeping here. I'm going to throw up a screen, and we dove like right into baits, which I love. Like that's so much fun. It's way funner than talking about the industry.
Oh yeah. That's the fun part.
So this is the Fish the Moment, 180,000 subscribers, approaching 500 videos on it. I mean, if you look at like videos and do popular, you're talking millions and millions of views here. 1.8 million, 1.7, 1 million. Like this is what you do. You left your job where you calculated how many Oreos people would eat in Asia and working for Nabisco. Wait, that's what you were doing, right? You're doing Asian projections for Nabisco, right?
It was close. It was pizza for Nestle, but yeah, pizza for Nestle.
Pizza for Nestle, and you said, I'm going to do this. And recently we've had some really interesting discussions, because it seemed, it wasn't that long ago. Like, walk the listeners through how you would kind of view, if you were to just give like a 2-minute kind of breakdown of the rise of social media, the YouTube, the fishing as a whole, from Googans to the rise to the education to kind of where it was, how it's gone, and like kind of where it is now. And then we can kind of take the conversation from there, which will transition back into some of the off-air conversations that I kind of want to talk about.
Yeah. So when I started getting into YouTube, it was like 2017. And the reason I actually got into it, it was because there were only a couple of YouTube channels out there. One of them was Tactical Bassin, and they were focused primarily on baits and talking about baits. And then there was the Guggen Squad with like John B, Lunkers TV, AP Bassin, those guys, and they were like bank fishermen. And I thought that it was strange. Actually, Fluke Master, there were a few others too. I'm not leaving people out on purpose, but there are just other like YouTubers. But very few of them actually went out on the lake and started like fishing and showing where to fish and those sorts of things. So I started Fish the Moment mainly to try to show how to catch fish offshore, how to use electronics. There was really a gap in that instruction. It was what I love to do. And I did it for fun. I did it for 2 years, never made $1. It took me 2 years to get to 5,000 subscribers. I was putting like 20 to 30 hours a week into it while doing my full-time MBA and working like 20 to 30 hours a week part-time with Nestle. So like I basically just did it all the time outside of work and my MBA. And it was one of those things where it's just a straight up passion project. But then right around like 2020, the views started to take off for everybody. That's when you saw, all of the Guggen Squad go crazy, all of the different people, they started gaining a ton of following. Then COVID hit and it kind of went even crazier from there, where a lot of people were out fishing and they wanted to figure out how to use the new boats and fish finders and things that they bought. And that's where like the channel started to really take off for me. And I was able to kind of monetize that with lake breakdowns and sonar guides, and the videos were doing great. And it was really more focused on just instruction, and people just wanted to learn how to fish and what to do. And over that time, I was starting to use forward-facing sonar like 2021, 2022, in that range. And people were eating it up. They were like, man, forward-facing sonar is new. It's cool. I like this technology. I'm the fish finder guy, so talking about forward-facing was not seen as a negative thing. People were just trying to learn about it. And then over the past like few years, there's a couple things that have happened. One, a lot more people got into YouTube, so there's a lot more competition, a lot more content out there. There's also been kind of, I feel like, so much information that it's hard to differentiate your instructional content, because all the content kind of feels the same. Everyone's sharing the same info. They make the same video someone else did because they saw it did well, kind of copying other people's videos. That's just part of the game. And now it's almost got to the point where there's so much drama happening in the industry with forward facing, not forward facing, things like that, along with just guys trying to talk about crazy baits that maybe don't even work and all this stuff. It's hard to find content, in my opinion, that is just straight up fishing content that doesn't have all the drama, that doesn't have a ton of like selling you crazy baits. It doesn't have all this stuff, because that's kind of what gets all the views. And so it's been kind of tricky for me, because I built my channel more just on like, here's how to go catch fish, here's how to go find fish, and make it very straightforward. And that's becoming harder and harder. And if you look at some of my recent thumbnails, I've tried to like be a little bit more controversial or do some of the drama stuff. And that stuff does get more views, but I don't like doing that type of content that much. I don't like making drama videos. I just like going out and just catching fish and showing like, hey, here's where I caught my fish. Here's what I did. I'm not going to tell you that this bait's amazing. I'm just going to go catch a bunch of fish on it. And then you can determine for yourself if that's what it is. And that's what I've always kind of done. So that's, I guess, the summary in my perspective, but there's a lot more to that, but hopefully that was like a quick summary for you.
I like it. Does September 12th, 2020 mean anything to you?
I don't really know. No, I don't know.
So it was exactly 5 years ago on Fish the Moment. And this is interesting. This is something I didn't bring up, but that you posted is Garmin LiveScope worth $3,000, first impressions and opinions. And it is the first time that forward facing appears on. Look at that, a young Johnny Schultz. That was before you were counting your grams of protein, and you were cutting, you were stacking, and you were bulking.
Look at that. That's I got some classics in the back too. I got a Pose 300 crankbait back there. I got a video game that I was on the box cover of. This is the same office. I just painted the walls. So this is like the same exact corner, and this is like, it's just a different color now.
Very interesting. So you kind of go through it. You talk about a lot of the live scope stuff. You absolutely blister them in this video. There's, a little bit of, a lot of education in here. So this is the thing that I wanted to see that was interesting. So there in 2020, that has 238,000 views on it. And there's no negative views. You're being called a saint. You're being called a service person in the industry. You've got everybody saying thank you so much for this video. It's very interesting if you go back and look at the feedback for that show, how there was zero negative.
It's the interesting part about that, and I've had several videos that have over like 300,000 views, 200,000, 300,000 views with forward-facing sonar, and we did like the live scope Trident where we had all three brands together. We did that, was kind of fun. And I did a comparison of all the three different sonars and stuff, and I think that there's a lot of factors that go into that, but I honestly think that the main thing that people have started to kind of get tired on with the forward-facing sonar is that it's been so dialed in that it feels like it's the same thing every single time when you watch someone use forward-facing sonar. Guys are getting so good at utilizing it in all different kinds of situations and things like that. And so when you first had forward-facing, it's like, wow, there's these limitless possibilities. How do we use it better? How do we, take advantage of it? What is actually the capabilities of it? And in that first impressions video, basically I was talking about, hey, I can put my bait in front of a few fish and that's cool, but I already know those fish are there because I graphed them with side scan, 2D sonar down scan. I know these fish are on this drop, but I can line up my cast on that drop and make sure my bait's right in the strike zone longer, and that helps me get more bites. And that was kind of my conclusion for my first impression video. And then later on I started targeting offshore schools that were swimming in open water, chasing bait. And I was like, hey, this is really cool. People seem to really like that. But then it kind of got to the point where people are like, okay, it's getting a little bit boring watching content where I just go and chase schools of fish every single video, or I pull up and just fish an isolated fish on a stump or whatever. And I do that over and over and over again, regardless of what lake type I'm on. I fish on all different types of lakes. So I'm going to Grand Lake, I'm going to Beaver Lake, I'm going to the Arkansas River, I'm going to all these places. Mm-hmm. And every video started to kind of feel the same to the audience. That's kind of the gauge I got on it. And so I started kind of mixing up and doing non-forward facing sonar videos and forward facing. And I do that on my channel this year. I've been doing both. So I've basically done 50% no forward facing. I literally unplug it. I take my graph off sometimes. I don't take it off as much anymore. I just unplug it and don't turn it on. And I'll just use traditional sonar and mapping. And then the other half of the videos, I use it. And I feel like that has helped maybe make the content less, like, it doesn't feel like you're watching the same thing over and over and over again. But I'm also kind of worried that people have watched some of my forward-facing sonar videos and say, I don't like this. This is not content I want to watch. And they just leave. And they never come back and watch my non-forward-facing sonar videos. So, like, that's, I think, the really big trick right now to figure out is, from a content standpoint, it's hard to straddle the line where I'm trying to do both, kind of like what Bassmaster did with their rules change. They're trying to, appease both sides, where it's like, we're going to have half the guys who like forward-facing sonar, they're going to get that content. And the other half, I don't know if it's 50-50, but whatever. Mm-hmm. They don't like it, we're going to give them that content. But at the end of the day, are people just going to say, you know what, I'm not going to watch Bassmaster because I just tuned in and I don't even know which tournaments are forward-facing and which ones aren't. And I don't even want to keep it straight in my head. So I'm just not going to watch in general. And that's what I'm actually really concerned about for my channel, because it's like, I can do both. And I think I'm actually one of the few content creators out there that goes out and catches fish both ways. Mm-hmm. I basically go once a week and fish both styles, and I make videos and I catch fish doing both. There's a lot of people that'll go fish one way or they'll fish the other. And I think that that's very interesting from my perspective, because I feel very well-rounded. I'm giving a well-rounded instruction to the audience. But at the same time, I don't know if that's what people even like or what they want. And so it's very hard. And it's just not been easy to figure out the right content mix right now.
How And I know we've touched about on this. How much of it do you think is fatigue? Like, I mean, I do a show every single day. I just did it. I've done 16. This is my 16th show in the month of September between the best on tours and the special shows and the regular BTLs and on that. How much of that do you think is fatigue of people who are just saying, okay, there's too much out, I'm just going to tune out right now? Do you think that plays a factor into it? Like, do you really think people are consuming less, or do you think that there's so much more out there right now that the views are just kind of spread?
I think it's just the views are spread. And like, it's also, I mean, YouTube is changing as a platform. The way that the algorithm works and recommends content's completely different. So like right now, I've been making a lot more content on my social media pages. I've been doing a lot more Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, where I cut my long form videos into shorter little snippets that are like a minute long, and those get way more views than the long form content. And from a, you know, sponsorship perspective and things like that, that's what I've been using as like an influencer to maintain sponsorships and things like that. Cause I know that the YouTube views for everybody are down like 50%. You could look at anybody's channel, all the views are down. I think part of that is people are just kind of leaving the platform. Maybe they are spreading out to more different platforms. I know a lot of people I talk to say, I'm just consuming content on TikTok or just on Instagram. So I'm making content on all different platforms, and it's, you know, maintaining the impact. I mean, I get lots of 100,000 plus view videos on Facebook and TikTok and things. So I'm able to generate the views still. It's just, you have to always adapt. And that's the way it is with everything. You can't just stick with one thing forever, whether it's YouTube or whether it's from a fishing tackle perspective or a fishing, you know, product perspective. You always have to be staying ahead of the game. And that's one thing that I feel I've been pretty good at over the years. I've been able to kind of pivot and see, okay, this is the trajectory of this. This is going down. We need to change and kind of change course, do different things. And you just have to not rely on one thing, one platform in this industry, because it's just not big enough. There's not enough eyeballs. There's not enough consumers to just do one thing anymore. You have to do a lot of different stuff.
I've also talked a little bit with you, and I know you've talked about it too. Like, do you think also, particularly on the YouTube forefront, that there was a shift with actual, like, that outdoor fishing content with like YouTube at the top that saw them push that algorithm really hard for a number of years? Obviously, you saw what the Guggen squad was able to do there. And it almost seems to me, and this is, like I said, in my own little bubble, that they took it from the fishing and they've just shifted it over to the golf world with the Good and the Bob Does Sports and all of those, which I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but it just seems like it used to be pushed a lot harder in the algorithm, and that they kind of have shifted in the past year and a half as to what they're pushing out to non-subscribers. Is there any truth to that, do you believe?
I mean, all I can talk about is like the anecdotal stuff I've heard. I do a lot of like sleuthing in random forums from like other YouTubers and other content creators and things like that. So one thing this is complete conjecture. It's like my hypothesis, but basically what you have to think about YouTube. YouTube is a company and they're trying to make money. They don't really care which videos people are watching. They just want the views so that they can give those views to companies they're willing to pay to put ads on those videos. That's how YouTube makes their money. And the one thing I do know is that there are not that many advertisers in the fishing space that are spending big bucks. And there's a lot of companies that are not really putting their money towards fishing or wanting to be put around fishing content that are outside of the fishing industry, those non-endemic brands. And so what happens, and this is kind of what a lot of people have been kind of talking about online, is it's not just fishing, it's other small niches that are not that big. YouTube gets money from advertisers and they want to give them the biggest bang for their buck, the most impressions, the most return. And so what they're doing a lot of times is pushing content where they have more advertising dollars. So let's say video games, it's really big on YouTube and they can get big sponsor dollars from companies and they can promote to video game people, because there's way more people who play video games than there are people who bass fish. And they're prioritizing that type of content to go out compared to like a bass fishing, which is such a small niche. And at the same time, they're also there's some theories that they're doing some stuff with YouTube Shorts, and that's kind of affecting stuff. And there's also this theory that if a content creator doesn't generate that much revenue for them from an ad spends perspective, like the advertisers aren't paying a lot of money to promote fish on fishing channels, then they're going to promote the smaller YouTube channels that aren't monetized because they make all the ad revenue from all those small content channels. So they'll push the small channels that aren't monetized. And then after that, they may push out like my video to a subscriber. But like right now, I mean, if you're subscribed to Fish at the Moment, there's only like 5%, maybe 10% of my subscribers actually ever get notified that I put out a video, because YouTube is like, we're going to give you a little chance, kid. And then if it doesn't like, it isn't this perfectly viral video that is super drama filled and it's like Gerald Swindle just punched out, X person. Like if it's not that like crazy, I know Gerald
just made a citizen's arrest. Like, he made a citizen's arrest is what he did, I think.
Yeah. Like if that's like,
right.
If that's not the video, then it's not going to get pushed to all the subscribers and to everyone. And when I just make a video that's like, here's how to go catch fall bass on like offshore flats, like people are not thinking that's crazy. They would rather go watch, hey, let's react to this newest rules violation, or are these young scopers bad at fishing or whatever. That's what's getting.
You could have the same video and be like, how I almost got in a fight on this offshore flat. Yeah, and it would probably get 50 to 70,000 views as opposed to 20,000 views.
Yeah, almost arrested by game warden for fishing on public body of water or something like. Yeah. A lot of times people put those titles and those things, and you watch the video, and it has nothing to do with that. That never happened. It's 100% clickbait. But with the clickbait, it works to get people in. And so if you're not clickbaiting, it's kind of tough.
But okay, so I would imagine. And you've done it, in my opinion, you've done it right with the Core Tackle as a founder of that and part owner of that. So you're not relying on proving your value to other. I know you have some other things where you are on that, but here's my question. This is something that's big for BTL, kind of a behind the scenes talk here. Is a click worth as much as it was 5 years ago, or is the time on the page and the duration per click 10 times more valuable than just the view?
It's hard to say. Honestly, I feel like it's the quality of the content that is the biggest key. Even if you go and get someone to watch a video for 10 seconds or you get them to watch for 10 minutes, if the content doesn't inspire someone to go purchase a product because you don't explain the 5, W's: when, where, why, how. I know that's a W, but like all of those things, like those key questions. If you don't explain all of that to the user in that time, you're not going to generate a sale.
So that's what, when, where, and why.
Yeah, there we go.
And sometimes how.
If you figure out how to do that, and you make pieces of content that are 15 seconds long and can explain all that, or 10 minutes long, a lot of times you can do both of those things. And that's what we've been able to do with Core Tackle really well, is generate content that does both. We're able to be very concise and explain things in that 15 seconds, which drives sales. And we can do it in a 10-minute format. And when I say we, I'm talking about myself and Matt Steffen. We're able to generate content that's 10 minutes long that generates that same response. And there's just different people who want different things. Some people want more explanation. They want to be shown fish catches. They want this. And some people are like, just show me the underwater action of the bait. Tell me it catches fish, and I'm going to buy it.
Where is all this going? Like, where do you see this in 3 years? You have Bassmaster that just made it 50-50. How much does the tournament, like you combine, so you have a lot of videos that have nothing to do with tournaments. You have videos where you explain what happened in tournaments. You have videos that break down what actual tournament patterns were from the top guys in the game. Like this whole, like, where do you see it in a couple years? Like, will it level out to where it gets back to non-controversial content, or do you just see that continuing down as more and more people try to fight for the same number of views?
I think it's just going to be worse from a social media perspective. Now, I think we have to separate social media from the real world, because social media is not the real world. And I think that a lot of people are, including myself, have a tough time kind of seeing that, where it's like, this is how I don't know where it's going to be going, but this is where I see we just have to all do what we enjoy. And so this is actually leading me to like my newest thing I'm trying for Fish the Moment, which is I'm going back to doing my catch 15 challenges, where I go out and I try to catch 15 pounds for 5 fish, no practice, no help, go to a tournament lake like a Beaver or Grand, place like that. And I don't use forward facing sonar because I don't enjoy using forward facing sonar that much. And I find the challenge of catching them without it a lot more fun. And so I'm going to be posting a video Friday of my catch 15 challenge. And I just filmed one yesterday on Table Rock Lake without forward facing sonar. Absolutely cracked them, caught like 30 fish, deep cranking. It was a lot of fun. And I like explaining this stuff, like how to find these offshore hard spots that are super hard to see, that no one's fishing in 2 to 5 foot of water, that are like not targeted by the bank beater, not targeted by the guys forward facing. And I do all these different things to explain how to target these fish. And for me, the thing that's most exciting about bass fishing right now, especially now that the rules have changed, where like half the tournaments are forward facing and half aren't, is there's guys who are pressuring these offshore fish with forward facing sonar. And so all the old school like structure spots and things I used to talk about in my videos 5-10 years ago, all those videos are not irrelevant, but it's so much harder to catch those fish because you can't just reel a swim bait over a piece of standing timber or over a ledge and those fish come up 20 foot and destroy your swim bait. Like now they're getting a minnow shook right in their face every single day, you know, by all the people that roll through those areas. So it's like, how do you find those off the wall areas? I mean, like yesterday, I found a shell bed in 3 foot of water on Table Rock Lake, way up a creek, and freaking smash them on Table Rock cranking. And it's like, how many people are going to Table Rock right now in September and catching 10 fish on 10 casts on a 3 foot shell bed? No, they're out in the middle of the lake on the lower end, scoping around the middle. And yeah, probably that's how you would win the tournament. But I think it's amazing that I can go out there and catch them cranking and catch them cast after cast. And like, if you guys want to see that video, go check out Fish the Moment. Like, that's the content I'm making. And you can hear, even I can like tell I'm getting excited talking about it. And when I talk about forward facing, I'm like, okay, I need to find my little 30-foot zone, or 30-yard zone. I need to pick off all the fish and do all that. And the guys love that. And there's people who make content doing that. But I feel like you just have to pick the content that you enjoy, that you think is exciting and fun. And you're going to have to just find that audience that likes that and just stick with them and just roll like what you do with BTL, Matt. You have your audience and you know who you talk to, and you talk to that audience. And maybe you can't get the millions of views like the Guggen Squad used to get, but if you can get those few dedicated people that really like what you're doing, I think that is, you know, the future of this game.
Yeah, I mean, you have some optimism. Like, you live in both worlds.
Yeah. And
that's what I like about you. Like, you live in both worlds. You're actively trying to engage the guys who think that forward-facing sonar is the devil and the downfall of society, the guys who are just trying to learn it, and the guys who have incorporated it into their daily game plan every time they get on the water, which I think is really hard to do. I mean, you literally have a video here that's like, I tested out the $999 forward-facing sonar unit, and here's what I thought about it. And then your next video is, I tested the jig head minnow without live sonar. How does it work? And then you've got the catch 15 and all that. So I really like the I mean, it's really good content. Have you noticed like when was the peak in your opinion as far as subscribers? Like, it seems like it's a slow trickle, but you'll have like these. Is it a tournament? Is there a time period? Can you correlate it with a specific time frame where you went, oh my gosh, like I just gained like 40,000 viewers in this time period?
It was really just during that like COVID time, 2021, 2022, like right after that, when everyone went out, they all got a boat, everyone was fishing, everyone wanted to learn stuff. And like, I could put out any video and get 30 to 40,000 views. It didn't matter what it was. And like my other videos were getting, you know, 80 to 100,000 views, and like there weren't as many content creators making high quality content, and it's just interesting. Those were great times, but that's not what I knew that was never going to be realistic, because eventually everything starts to slow down, and that's when we started Core Tackle around that time to basically shift, because we just didn't really know what was going to be happening. And Matt, Steph, and I talk about this stuff all the time of what's the future of YouTube, where do we see stuff, we compare analytics, we look at all this stuff, how do we get views for Core Tackle to be able to sell more product, how do we design baits. So like, for example, right now Matt's actually coming down to my neck of the woods. We stay at my house the next few days, and we're going to be doing like a strategy meeting for the next year. And one thing we've talked about a lot is how do we make baits that are not just forward-facing sonar baits, or exclusively baits that aren't for forward-facing sonar, that are unique and different from a spinner bait, a crankbait, a jig. And with Core Tackle, we always like to be innovative and different and unique. And how do we kind of design that mentality? What type of products do we want to get into? What's the strategy for 2026? All those things. And we have some pretty cool stuff cooked up there. We actually have a pretty cool idea that we've shared with you, Matt, a little bit, but we were going to keep it under the wraps for a little bit. But I think it's something that might really be cool and embrace the community a lot more, and get a lot more people who are Core Tackle customers involved in the overall kind of idea and philosophy of what we're doing. So we're excited about that, and we'll share more about that. Maybe we can get back on BTL with Stefan too. And
yeah, no, we'd definitely do if he's not busy. Yeah, I mean, I tried to call him the other day, but I think he was too busy sitting in a lawn chair trying to catch sturgeon out of the river in front of his house.
Oh yeah, dude, he's all about that.
Yeah.
Gotta test the baits, but
yeah, absolutely. I know that you have to go cook some lean chicken breasts so you can meal prep for the next 2 weeks. So I'm gonna let you go. Also, I'm just curious: are those glasses actually prescription, or is that more of a fashion statement glasses?
No,
is that clear glass?
If I take my glasses off, I could not read my computer monitor. It's just all blurry. Like I normally wear contacts, but like contacts have been starting to bother me. So I'm not doing prescription sunglasses and glasses. It's weird because I'm not used to wearing glasses like on camera and stuff, but I've just said I'm just going to embrace it and go full fishing nerd apparently.
All right, I'm gonna let you go. Thanks, Johnny. You're the man. I appreciated that. That was a little bit of a unique behind the scenes look. So
sounds good. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Hopefully we'll see you guys soon.
All right, yeah, check him out, Fish the Moment, Johnny Schultz. They've also got, I think, like Bass Fishing Declassified, a bunch of other stuff. All right, I mentioned it with Mike McClellan yesterday. A little salty that I'm not there, but got some buds that are fishing it. Lake Champlain, the first EQ. I think they just did boat check. They had an off day, and we have none other than Austin Cranford and Matt Adams, who are joining us live from upstate New York. Austin, how do you like in New York?
This place will give the St. Lawrence River a run for its money. I mean, it's you weren't lying. I remember whenever you came up here for the Nation and you're telling me a bunch of stories about how good this place is, and you weren't lying. Like, it didn't take long to realize how many fish are in this lake. I mean, and how big this place is. Like, you look at a map and you're like, I mean, it doesn't look that big, and you get here and it is massive. I feel like an ant out there, but this place is incredible. It's going to be a fun tournament. And I wish you were here.
Yeah. Matt Adams behind you. Great year in the EQs. Now, I think, I don't know. Have you ever been to Champlain before, Matt?
I haven't. This is the first time here, but I will enjoy every moment of being able to wear a hoodie at 10:15 in the morning in this weather, because I know Oklahoma is a lot like Alabama. It's a little bit warmer where you're at.
It's no secret. I mean, the Elite Series has been there. We've had Opens there. We've had Bass Nation tournaments there, Invitationals, Toyotas. Guys catch fish on Lake Champlain. Little bit unique here, that middle of September time frame. Obviously, you guys have game plans. You figured everything out. But are we going to see green fish? Are we going to see brown fish? Are we going to see mid-20s bags? Like, is this thing shaping up for an absolute slugfest to kick off the EQs?
I think it's going to be a slugfest with the consistent, like, over 20-pound weights. The problem is the lake's 3 foot low. And when you try to go largemouth fishing, there's not any water up there. I feel like there's going to be like one, maybe two guys that are going to do the largemouth thing and do well and be like your big bags. But I feel like whenever you try to get up there shallow and do the largemouth thing, there's really not that much available to fish. And it seems like if you did find some largemouth, surely they've got to be grouped up, and I'm sure somebody has found them. And I mean, I can see a largemouth bag like winning something like Ed did, a situation like that, just because I don't think you can go down the bank and catch those largemouth. But that's kind of what worries me. But the smallmouth is going to be dominant in this one. I mean, it's they're weighing heavier than than I've done all of the research, and I feel like 20 pounds is gonna be the standard. I mean, these guys are gonna catch them. Everybody's saying 18, 19. I think that these fish are a little bit heavier than in years past. But I've never been here. But that's just kind of how I.
Yeah, Matt, do you think this is gonna come down to who can keep what bites the stuff on the end of their line hooked and in the boat? Is this going to be an execution tournament when it comes down to between 5th place and 15th and 20th place?
I think it's just as much as execution. I think it's a zone thing.
Okay.
I think that this lake is really, it's fishing where, you can really get in that mode of 3.5, 3 3/4, 3.5, 3 3/4, never see the 4-pounder. I think the guys that find the zones that are, I compared it a little bit to St. Clair, that find the zones that's got the 4 1/4 to 4.5 pound fish are the ones that are really going to do well in this event, because you've been here. Anybody knows anything about Champlain knows that it is not a shortage of fish, and they're not little. So I think it's going to be a zone thing, and execution is definitely going to play a part, because gosh knows I lost plenty in practice.
We've both been dumping like quite a few, and I don't know what's going on. I've tried everything under the sun. These smallmouth are not like St. Lawrence. Like St. Lawrence fish, they come straight up and then they dig. And then these fish, they come up sideways, they jump upside down. I don't know how many have like knocked themselves out on the side of my boat. They are like crazy. I've never seen smallmouth just spaz out like these ones do. And I think what you were saying earlier, the execution is going to be a big deal, because we both have been losing a lot.
I'm looking at the weather here. Obviously, Champlain is a beast. I mean, if I'm thinking of the 3 biggest lakes where wind plays a factor, I'm thinking Okeechobee, Toledo Bend, and Lake Champlain. And it does look like you're going to have some pretty strong north winds on Friday coming up here, but manageable. Is that, you think, going to play into this game plan as this tournament progresses, as far as getting to where guys are trying to go?
Yeah, I think so. And leave it to the Bassmaster Opens. Every day of practice has been glass. You could skip a rock across the lake all 3 days of practice. And even today, like it's beautiful out here. And I think during the tournament, we're going to see a first little bit of wind that we're going to get. And I mean, I know guys probably, if they, plan accordingly, I don't know. We haven't seen what it's like being windy out here. I don't know if it's going to make them bite better, but I think that, these guys are good enough that they have planned accordingly for the wind, but getting there is going to be a problem, especially with that wind they're projecting on Friday. So.
Yeah, Matt, so far this is kind of the first year of the EQ's qualifying processes, many years in the making, as to try to have that middle division between the Bassmaster Opens and the Bassmaster Elite Series for the Elite Series anglers who were cut. We had Chad Pipkins on last week who was talking about how he was fishing that. There's a few Elite Series guys fishing it, but you have a $3,500 entry fee, so you're over $10,000 in. There's 3 of this, and the coverage, just kind of your first impressions of how Bass has handled it, kind of leading it up to the first one. Obviously you haven't had it, but a different feel in the air heading into this EQ as opposed to just a standard Bassmaster Open.
Yeah, I think that any time that you go into an event that's only got, or a series that's only got 3 events, you realize that the importance is magnified, and everybody, you know, in sports they call it everybody starts 0-0. Well, it's the same thing here. Everything's reset, and you know, I think a little bit of the pressure that people are going to feel is the numbers are going to fall in every tournament. This is something that I've discussed with you know, some of the guys at Bass too.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to keep the same numbers at Wheeler, and you're going to lose a bunch more at Okeechobee. So the pressure to start well is probably more than it's ever been. And, you know, I don't know how I feel about that. I do know how I feel about that format. We'll just leave that alone. I like the 9, but the pressure that guys are going to feel, every decision is going to be a big deal, and especially with weights being as tight as Champlain. I mean, if you finish outside the top 50, chances are your fall's over.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a tough format. That's a tough one to deal with. We'll see how everybody handles the pressure.
All right. Where can guys follow Austin, your socials? I'm assuming are you doing videos for this one too, and can follow you on your socials, and then Matt, give yours too for guys who wanna follow you.
Yeah, everything's Austin Cranford Fishing on Instagram, Facebook, and then YouTube. So I've had a YouTube channel probably 3 or 4 years. That's probably I enjoy doing it, but got a bunch of videos on there. This tournament will have a tournament video. I've had Mason, my camera guy, with me all year. He's not here at this one, but he'll be at the next couple. But I'll do the best I can in this one. And
yeah, mine's Matt Adams Fishing on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and on TikTok. I do most of my stuff on Facebook. I'm not as technologically savvy as Austin is with YouTube.
Yeah, that's scary too, because Austin's not exactly technologically savvy.
That is exactly right. Words.
I remember the first time we went up north, Austin, I saw you in the parking lot, and you had everything was bungee corded or duct taped to your boat. Remember at the first time at Thousand Odds, you had your trolling motor bungee corded or ratchet strapped to the front. Your graph was duct taped together. You've come a long way. You come a long way from there.
I had a prop wrench. I broke my the riser that your graph sits on. I broke that, and I had a prop wrench up underneath it, zip tied to keep it flat so I could still fish. Oh yeah, I feel like I've come a long way as far as being rough on my stuff, and I guess you get older and wiser. Yeah,
both of you guys are with the Bass Tank there, so Scott has you guys taken care of. So I greatly appreciate it. I know how busy the off days are. I know there may also be a couple area ponds that are not Lake Champlain that you can go test your catch to hook to land ratio on there. So for taking time to do that, I appreciate it, guys, and good luck. The first EQ kicks off tomorrow morning on Lake Champlain.
All right. Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, Matt.
All right. See ya. All right. We're going to bring in another standard guest to the show who's going to kind of break some of this down. We're going to run a quick ad, and then when we come back, Lake Champlain expert, aficionado, trophy holder, and I would venture to say he's probably won over 50K on Lake Champlain over the last 5 years. He's thinking about it. I can see him. He's shaking his head. No, I bet if you add it up, it's got to be, well, no, because he can't fish the big money tournaments because he gets paid to cover the big money tournaments. That's the only problem there. Jody White is going to break it down. We can actually go more in detail with him as to what to expect in this first EQ. It's an open mic BTL. And then at the end, heck, we might even open the mics with Jody White if you guys want to ask some questions. When we come back, it's BTL on a Wednesday. We'll be back after this.
The new Puma STS has been redesigned from the ground up. With the angler, design, function, and performance in mind, nothing on this new offering was compromised, and the only thing carried over from the previous version is the name. Based on the Soft Touch series hull that started with the flagship Jaguar, this new model is nimble and performs incredibly well at all speeds with either a 250 or 300 horsepower engine. Featuring a new 96-inch wide-body footprint, this hull measures out at 20 foot 7 inches in length. Industry-leading design coupled with tournament-winning performance. The Puma STS from Basscat. Feel the rush.
I fish in some of the worst elements across the country. Spring, that's a giant, dude. Summer, oh my gosh. Hi, look at that thing. Winter, it's so cold. And fall, got a big one, that's awesome. Being comfortable and staying dry is the only option. AFCO. Any fish, any water.
All right, welcome back. BTL on a Wednesday. I love this kind of spur of the moment shows because you never know what direction it's going to take. I had no idea what I was going to talk to with Johnny. Then Austin texted me. I sent him the link. He was with Matt Adams. They jumped on. Then Jody White commented, and now he's on the show, which I'm sure you wish you probably hadn't commented because what'd you do to your finger?
I was trying to rig like a new little strap on the front of my trolling motor to hold my cables, and I needed to like open it up a little bit more, and so I just tried to hold it and drill at the same time, which turned out to be a really bad call, and so I basically have like half of my fingertip ripped off.
There's a live scope related injury then.
It was a live scope related injury. 100%. It's my first scoping into injury that I've had. For sure.
Have you ever gotten scoper's foot where you don't drink enough water and then you're scoping and you're moving your foot to where you get dehydrated and like one or two of your toes pop up from the rest of your toes and they cramp and then you have to like hop back on one foot and then manually put those toes back in place and then chug a bunch of electrolytes?
I am pretty good at hydrating, so no. I did have, I mean, I guess it's scope related. I had like a minnow shaking elbow issue at one point in time.
You had like, minnow elbow?
I could shake it for like, a half an hour and then it would start to hurt. And so, I mean, I played through pain, but...
you just became a meme. You just became a clip.
Yeah, probably.
Dude, let's talk about this Champlain deal on. I could ask you whatever. I'm not in it. You're not in it. Is this just going to be
right?
A 100% minnow beatdown where guys are going to have between 20 and 22 pounds of smallmouth and everyone's going to be grouped up, but all of the top 10 is going to be a 4 to a 6-inch minnow on a ball head jig and a spinning rod?
Except for I think it'll probably get one with like at least half largemouth.
Really?
Dude, the largemouth are big right now. There was, I think like 2 or 3 weeks ago, some guys won a local tournament, Justin Brouillard, who actually fishes, or well, he fishes, obviously. He also works in the fishing industry. They had 24.9 all green.
Wow.
In the Inland Sea Bass Association. Like, I don't think that Ticonderoga is going to be a big factor. Maybe not a factor at all. But I think that largemouth from up north are going to play pretty strong. And, there's not a lot of guys in the field who probably really looked for them, is my guess. Like, there's some locals who know to look for them, who have seen the lake the last few years and have like seen that there's times where the smallmouth aren't the number one game. But I mean, just looking at the sort of composure of the field, I would say most guys, like if they figured out that they couldn't catch them on docks really easy, they just kept the scope in and kept hunting smallmouth, which I think is a really good decision. I think there's going to be a lot of top 10s, a lot of checks, come on mostly smallmouth or all smallmouth, but I think there's going to be some serious largemouth caught in this one too. I think it'll be a good combo.
I would say, guys are looking for a top 20 here. Obviously, you're looking to win. You're looking to stay in the top 10, but the EQs, you're looking for the top 20. Top 20 isn't devastating. What is 20th place gonna be weight wise here after 2 days?
I mean, it's gonna be really good weights, I'm sure, but to project like
40 pounds, are there gonna be?
I mean, it's September. It's good. If it was October or November, for sure, I'd say. But
so it gets better later, like when there's no tournament.
Dude, December, I can catch you 22 pounds in like an hour.
You said December?
Anytime you want. Yeah, December. You'll be the only one out there.
Like
but
October, November, December, like the month where Christmas is.
Yeah, like sometimes we're cutting our way into the boat ramp, but just blasting them.
Wow.
But yeah, I think that it's going to be really good. I think 20 a day, multiple days in a row. Like Champlain's not the St. Lawrence. Like it doesn't have just 5-pounders swimming around all over the place. Like there'll be 5-pound smallmouth weight in this tournament, I bet. But you know, 20 is a lot to ask multiple days in a row on Champlain for that many guys.
But what I'm hearing is a guy like Russ Lane, who maybe wants to go catch some greenfish, and a young college scoper who wants to ply the abyss for their satchel of bronze backs, it could be a Leech Lake scenario where you can see a guy that can fish his strings for smallmouth, a guy who can fish his strings for largemouth, and they can actually kind of battle it out.
Yeah, I think absolutely. I mean, I think you look at Alec. I mean, Alec is a guy who can catch smallmouth super well, super efficiently. I think there's also a really good chance he weighs in some largemouth in this tournament.
I mean, is he the favorite in this thing? Would you say? I mean, like I would say, if I look at the 106 anglers and I have to, if my feet are to the fire, like I'm going Alec Morrison in this event for the dub.
He's very due for a win on Champlain. You know, I think that he's very due. He's basically the only local that I can think of in the field, or like real local. You know, Casey Smith is from New York. He fishes Champlain a lot. I bet he'll do really well. But he doesn't have the depth of time on the lake that Alec does. And most of the other guys, you know, who do have a lot of time on the lake, it's not in September. Of course, not many people have a lot of time on the lake with the water this low, which certainly could change some things, but it does tend to get low in the fall anyway. And so if you're from around here, you've kind of seen it in the fall more, I would say. But I mean, if I got to put money on it, I'm putting it on Alec for sure.
Yeah, that's fair. We now have, okay, so you work for MLF. So if you don't want to answer this question, don't, you don't have to. But we now have forward-facing sonar restrictions across all platforms and levels of professional bass fishing. I mean, it's no secret that you enjoy employing that technique while you fish, but do you think in the next 3 or 4 years we're going to have a technology tour? I mean, I've been boxing this idea around in my head with it. Like, is there going to be a group with some funding or sponsor behind it that says, all right, you guys want to play that game? Screw it. We'll take bloop, burp, burp, burp from all the different things, throw it together. And, you know, the more transducers, the merrier. And we're going to go to the top live scope destinations in the country at the best times of the year, under the best conditions, with a smaller field. And it's just going to be a catch fest.
I mean, I think that there's probably more opportunity for that than there ever has been before.
Yeah. I think there'd be a shocking amount of intrigue and interest in that. I honestly do.
Oh, I think there definitely would be. And I think a lot of it would be young anglers, but I think, you know, if you are at a good lake and you're seeing it at its peak, you know, anyone likes seeing big fish get caught. So I think there'd be opportunity for that. I think that, you know, it is pretty hard to successfully run a tournament trail and make any kind of money off of it. I would say, and I think that if you look at what we've done, where we've got we have a mix of formats, right? For all of our top level stuff. I think that probably makes it harder for someone to say, just come here and do just this as well. So I wouldn't say that it's a guarantee by any means. And, you know, if somebody tried it and I could fish 1 or 2 of them, I'd, you know, probably jump in. But I think it'd be also a little bit of a long shot for us to have like a 4th or 5th or however you want to count many tournament trails out there.
That's fair. Are you headed to Oklahoma in about a month, a little over a month?
Yeah, I'm not thinking about it yet. I'm thinking about Lake Gunnersville right now. I'm here spooling.
Oh yeah, you're are you qualified for the anglers that $500,000 deal?
Yeah, and got more baitcasters lined up than I've had in years, and I'm driving down in the morning to go pre-fish. But yeah, it's we'll be out by you for the Toyota Series Championship at beginning of November, and
Yeah, Grand Lake.
I hope it'll be good.
So no
We've
scope
had some
in
real
the.
grinders out there.
Yeah, it's Grand is weird. It's such a fickle lake now as far as consistency of pumping out big bags. Like that week you're there is either going to be like a battle of wills, or it's just going to be wide open. Like it's right on that verge of really good or really, really, really bad.
They had the Bass Nation Championship there last year.
That
Caps won, right? And
yeah,
from everything I heard, like practice was going pretty good. Like I talked to guys who were catching a bunch of fish, like thought they were going to catch them in the tournament. And then I think the water came up like 1,000 feet, and there was typical Oklahoma weather, which is just always insane if you ask me. And then the tournament was a lot harder than practice, is sort of the impression I got. I don't know, but I guess I hope we can tend more toward whatever practice was like than what that tournament was like.
Yeah, it's a lot of boats, and when you've got a lot of guys that are fishing the same kind of style of water, either top water, flipping around a lot of docks in the same area, a lot of those fish that get shaken off turn into 13 and 14 inch spotted bass, and then the good ones get plucked. So it's like weird. There's like a weird explosion
I
of
might as well set the
13 to
hook on
14
one
and a half. Yeah.
And then the fourth guy goes through that pocket, and he's like, I might as well set the hook on one too.
Yeah. Yeah.
All of a sudden, there's not so many.
So, all right. Well, I just wanted to get some of your expertise. I'll let you get back to rigging. I hate rigging. I've had some, I've had finger injuries, cut, like you get your finger gets infected, and then you're trying to rig tackle. It is the biggest pain in the ass when you can't use your index finger when you're working on tackle.
I have found my main issue is tying FG knots, which luckily I'm not doing a lot of right now.
You need a uni.
Dude, it took me so long to tie every knot when I was at Oneida last week. It was insane. I'm sitting there in the boat, and eventually I got them all. Nothing broke in the tournament, so I guess I did a good job, but God, it was annoying.
Yeah.
But
well, we'll let you get back to that. Thanks for
is.
jumping on, Jody.
All right. Always a pleasure, Matt.
All right. Good luck down at Gunnersville.
Yes, sir.
All right. Jody White, a lot of experience there at Champlain for the first EQ. Take a break. When we come back, surprise guest joins BTL. It's BTL on a Wednesday. We'll be back after this. Open mic topic. So here's what we'll do. We'll talk with our next guest for a couple minutes, and then we'll do it like old school. The link for the StreamYard link for the show is in the description in the YouTube channel. All you have to do is click on it into the description, about today, where it says like Matt talks about whatever with whoever. Just click on that link. It'll bring you into the studio, put your name in, engage your audio video. I'll see you down there. You might have to sit there for a couple seconds. Depends on how long-winded our next guest is, but it's BTL on a Wednesday. Open mic topic. We'll be back right after this. Pro Bass Adventures is reinventing Mexico bass fishing. With boats equipped with 12-inch Garmin units and LiveScope Plus, free loaner fishing rods, and no-cost airport transportation, Pro Bass Adventures is proudly putting you in the best position for success. Pro Bass Adventures has lodges on Lake Baccarat and Lake El Salto, Mexico's two best trophy largemouth bass lakes. Visit probassadventures.com or email probassadventures@gmail.com. The official Mexico fishing lodge of Bass Talk Live.
As a professional angler, there's only one thing that connects you to your paycheck. Probably the most crucial part to tournament bass fishing. I use Sunline because they have a line for every application. Shooter, FX2, All Might, super light line, big stuff, big sticks. Sunline has you covered.
Sharp as can be. Super strong, super durable.
Really good penetration.
Thinner and stronger.
Catch fish after fish.
I want to make sure that I'm using the best stuff possible.
World's finest hook.
World's finest hook.
Gamakatsu, world's finest hook.
All right, welcome back, BTL, on a Wednesday. A little bit of a hodgepodge of a show. Started out with Johnny Schultz from Core Tackle, from Fish the Moment, and jumped in with Matt Adams, Austin Cranford, as they prepared for the first Bassmaster EQ up on Lake Champlain, and then got a little bit of the Lake Champlain details with the man Jody White. I see Jake down there in the queue. We'll get to him with his question, but you can't leave the man, the myth, the legend waiting. That would be the one and only Mark Jeffries. Do you have audio? Do you have video?
What's up?
No, not much. Just actually put together a very nice show today. And at the start of the show, I had no idea who or what we would be talking about. So I love when a plan comes together, Mark.
That's a great idea. It's kind of like what we did, except we did it on the phone lines back in the day. So
yeah, this is better. Plus, I mean, it is 2025, and I haven't had a phone line at this house for 4 years, Mark. So
yeah, analog lines are kind of the thing of the past. So.
Yeah, what's been going on? Have you been following the game at all, or have you been deep into the bowl? What are your we'll get some of you. I just wanted to get kind of your initial thoughts on it with
the whole
Chase Anderson interview, the split, the whole thing.
Yeah, the half and half is rather interesting. And the schedule, we've said it all along, man. It's all about where they're going to get the nice little check from the community, the organization, whatever they're doing, to get those events at those locations. It would be really interesting to see if the fans are really weathered, tired, whatever adjective you want to use, on going to the same places. I think those people have voiced their opinions sometimes. I've seen a few comments here and there, but from a fan perspective, from an angler perspective, what have the guys said out there doing this for a living, Matt, about going to the same places over and over and over?
Dude, we've had this discussion a long time. I think there are some lakes that are like Wrigley Field or Yankee Stadium or the Rose Bowl. Augusta, like where you kind of have to have them on the schedule, and you can go during different times of the year, but you kind of it is a regular stop. I think that having those linchpins, like a Gunnersville, like a Kissimmee, like a Grand Lake, I think you kind of know what you're going to get, but that's also part of the intrigue. A little bit more about it now with the split on the forward-facing sonar, but I haven't really heard that many complaints about the schedule. I've heard a lot of good things about the open schedule too. But you also, one of the things that I think is interesting is it's pretty obvious. You know how these guys do the schedule. It's not a 1-year deal too. So like some of the schedule, like in 2024. Or 2023, they knew they would have an Elite Series or an Open in 2026. Yeah. So then this forward-facing sonar kind of popped up, and now you're trying to apply the forward-facing sonar rules to a schedule that was designed to be with forward-facing sonar that they scheduled to try to combat the forward-facing sonar. So you've got places like the Tom Bigby, like the Arkansas River, like Eufaula, like just places that they were like, hey, we're going to make sure this is a like they did like with the Sabine last year and things like that. So it's kind of an interesting, I would expect that to kind of level out as they schedule forward if they're going to do the 50-50.
All right. I have a question for you. I was thinking about this last week, and I forgot to ask you when we talked on the phone. Do they still have the frog only tournaments like at Gunnersville?
Yeah. Spro does it. Spro does a lot of frog only tournaments and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's still taking place.
Yeah. Big time. Yeah. I think they have one at Havasu. I think they have one at Gunnersville. Typically, it's places that have some sort of vegetation.
Obviously.
Like a frog-only tournament on Grand would be pretty interesting. I mean, in the Willows, it'd be fantastic, but like a September frog-only tournament on Grand.
Yeah, that would be kind of neat, though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it would highlight the catchability of the frog very well, but I know there's guys. I mean, you have to basically. I would assume you just skip it under docks and stuff like that.
Yeah, I remember back in the day, the Spro thing and the Snag Proof thing. I mean, they would have 200-300 boats at those things. It was insane.
Yeah, no, they still do. They still do.
I have another question.
Okay.
Do they still have the and I can't even remember the guy's name, the Big Bass Splash
The
tournament?
Big Bass Bashes and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are still a big thing.
I just wondered if those were going away because, or were they getting an increased field because of forward facing?
No, those are all big. What is happening and what I think you're going to see, and this is just my opinion, Mark, and I'd love to hear what you think on it. This is going to upset some of our listeners, but I honestly believe this is I honestly believe this is the truth. The majority of people complaining about forward-facing sonar do not fish higher level tournaments. The anglers who do fish the higher level tournaments, including the big team tournaments and the team series stuff, have already adapted to forward-facing sonar, just like they adapted to the Alabama rig, just like they adapted to all the other changes over time. So you've got these trails that are going to expect massive numbers. I just saw, one in Texas has limited or banned it. You're going to start seeing this because the wheel turns as bass turns. So when bass says, hey, we're going to split it, that basically gives the go ahead for these bigger regional trails to say, oh, well, if they're doing it, then we can do it. And they've gotten all these complaints and they've read all of the blogs and all this stuff. So they think their numbers are going to go from 200 to 400 boats right away.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to lose boats because as someone who fishes, who I don't think I only catch fish because of forward-facing sonar, caught a lot of fish before forward-facing sonar, but I don't have any desire to put my time, my effort, my money into a weekend team trail or a big local level tournament and fish without it. It's not part of my game. It hasn't been for the last 5 years. So you're going to have a bunch of people who make the most noise, who are going to get this stuff limited, but you're really just going to have a bunch of people that were going to fish it that when it's not allowed are going to go, you know what? Screw that. I'll watch college football today. I'll go fun fish. I'll go fish another trail where I don't have to take my transducer off, where I don't have to do all this stuff. And it's actually going to reverse the numbers of the tournaments. They're not going to go through the roof. They're going to go down.
All right. 2 questions for you. One, do you know who Diego Pavia is?
Is that the quarterback for Vanderbilt?
It is. Nice job. Did you watch the SEC documentary series on Netflix?
I did not. Because OU wasn't in it. I watched it until it wasn't OU, and I didn't need to see more Georgia and Alabama propaganda.
Yeah.
But only reason I know is I think he said that if they won their last game, that Theo Vaughn could go on a date with his mom.
This dude's a character. And the only reason I'm bringing it up is how much impact would you think that the industry, the sport, the profession, whatever you want to call it, if there was some type of documentary series on Netflix covering professional fishing? Do you think the general public would have an interest in that?
That has been much closer to reality than anybody realizes.
Really?
Yes.
What's the percentage that it could happen in the next 5 years? 50%?
At the level of a full swing, or at the level of a F1?
Yes.
I mean, they did a 6-part documentary on competitive hot sauce. And it was popular.
Do you think that would be probably
competitive chili growing and eating?
I think it would be cool. I think there are people out there who, obviously, with the numbers of subscribers for Netflix, that would open up some doors if they did it the right way. Like, if you watch the Cowboys documentary on
the
Netflix,
Jerry Jones one.
Yeah. It was awesome.
America's team. Yeah.
And I'm not a Dallas Cowboys fan, but I
should be. Did you see him last Sunday? It was amazing.
I mean, I can't stand the Cowboys, but
I'm a Cowboys fan.
I was intrigued by everything about that series.
here's the problem with it, and then we'll bring Jake in and get his. He looks like he's working on tackle out at his garage. And I think this might have, I don't want to speak out of turn here. This might have had an impact in why this isn't a reality right now. Every individual, me included, you included, anybody, has an agenda here, and it's very difficult for a media team of that caliber that would be required, to come in and justify the resources to do a series with not a lot of hardcore fans, to be honest. But that could also be a benefit. But I think the biggest problem is trying to find someone who understands the big picture without tweaking it to their perspective.
I don't think that would happen. And based upon the documentaries and some of the series that they've put together, I think it would open up the eyes to the people that know nothing about professional.
I also don't think, like, okay, so if you were to do it with, like, when John Murray, Byron Velvick, and Skeet Reese roomed together in the 80s, yeah, that would be must-watch TV. Like, let's be honest, most of the guys who are at the top right now, the younger guys, they have a camper trailer. They go week to week by themselves, fish 18 hours a day, and like there's no shenanigans. Like there's no
time out.
Extracurricular activities.
I get it. Okay, time out. Right now, if you looked at the Elite Series or Major League Fishing or any of the trails, who would be 3 guys to focus on if Netflix was to do a documentary? Okay. Who would those 3 guys be?
On the Elite Series?
Yeah.
The 3 guys that, as far as just on the water, off the water, everything?
No, total entertainment, the total package, along with performance.
I mean, number 1 is Ben Milliken.
Is he coming back?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about who was on this past year.
Okay.
I mean, Milliken would have to be one. I would put Hackney in there. I mean, you want to talk about, like, I mean, not controversial, but you want to talk about a colorful life of what he does. I would definitely put Hackney in there. And then I would put either Polinick or Carl.
That's a good 3. I could see that.
You?
I wonder what the fans. I see some of the responses on.
You have any? You have any that you would add?
No. I just want to see it happen.
Yeah. Bass Pro Tour wise, and this is pre-cut, right?
Okay.
Pre-cut. I would pre-cut. I would definitely have to say, well, I would have to go with Jacob Wheeler because he's number 1. He's got all sorts of stuff going on. He's got the young family, the business. Like, that's a no-brainer.
Agree.
You're down to 2 there. I know that he's already had some documentary stuff with was it the Bassman documentary or whatever, but I think Takahiro would be a really good one. I mean, that's an interesting life of discipline led to see what he's done. And I mean, it wasn't a flash in the pan. He has stuck with it and stuck around.
That's a good point.
I really like Takahiro. And then I think you've got to go with like a Drew Gill or one of those young kind of phenoms that are trying to find their way in this flip-floppy, what they can and can't do and all that stuff.
Yeah. That's something to think about. I know it was kind of off the cuff here, but
I
really would like to know if Netflix came out and I would
it's. I'll talk to you more off there.
All right.
What else you got, Mark? Let's bring Jake in. What's up, Jake?
Hey, how's it going? Can you guys hear me?
Are you reworking a small engine, or are you working on fishing stuff?
No, I'm at work. I'm fusion splicing fiber optics.
Say that again, please.
Fusion splicing fiber optics.
You know what that is, Mark?
Fiber optic cables.
Yeah.
No, I
For
know that, but I've never heard of fusion splicing. Sounds way above our pay grade here. On BTO.
If you're feeling that, I didn't even think I'd actually make it on air. I'm way out of my element here.
No, you're not.
So-
That's what it's all about. So, what do you want to chat about, Jake?
Winter fishing.
Okay.
Favorite techniques and everything like that. Because around where I'm at, it's all grass. I'm in Bakersfield, California.
Okay.
There is a lot of people that fish and not that many fisheries. So it's highly pressured, super grassy lakes. So my typical thing is like a Texas rig drop shot or like a 6-inch, the Huddleston, the 68.
Yeah.
So
Mark, you're a big wintertime A-rig guy. Like that's do you throw the A-rig out there, Jake, at all?
I haven't really ever committed to the A-rig. I bought a couple off of Temu, and I was always joking that because they're expensive.
Dude,
and I'm like,
when you say, Mark, you got to get into the A-rig this winter for a dude out in California.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Hey, Matt, here. I got to say something real quick, not to interrupt you, Jake, but I got to go here because I got to get a player to pick up his car. But listen, Saturday. All right, I know everybody's probably going to be at the lake, but Saturday here in Oklahoma City, history is going to be made. For the first time in collegiate bowling history, it is going to be the Crosstown Clash, SNU versus Oklahoma Christian at our home center in a 3-period grudge match in a format that has never been done in collegiate bowling. It's going to be live streamed to the max. I'm bringing in the big dog, Matt. I'm bringing in the full-blown production equipment for an incredible live stream, and it's going to be great for the sport. It's going to be great for both programs. We're bringing in bleachers to the bowling center. All right, the campus is loading up, and we're going to have a huge crowd. So please wish us the best. The guys, they've been practicing really hard, and it's going to be a big-time event for the world of college bowling on Saturday.
The Crosstown Clash, SNU Bowling, led by Mark Jeffries versus Oklahoma Christian at Holiday Lanes in Oklahoma City, Saturday, September 20th, 2025 at 9 a.m.
Yep, live stream snubowling.com. All right.
I knew there was a reason why you agreed
throw
to
that
come on the
Alabama
show.
rig, okay?
All right.
All right,
well,
thanks, Mark.
Jeffrey's energy, like you could get me excited about a hobby horse tournament. Like just your voice and your projection and your energy, just
it's cool.
Unlike any other.
Matt, I want to come back on later, man. I'm just out of time.
Yeah, no, that's good. We were supposed to have a meeting today, and you're like, no. So I figured I'd see if you wanted to jump on. I was shocked you. Now I know why. It's just to promote the Oklahoma City Smash. What's it called? The Smash
Crosstown Clash.
Crosstown Clash. There you go. All right. See you, Mark.
All right. See you.
All right. Yeah, I would highly, that Alabama rig is really good, like out that time, and then also just the suspending jerkbait. How cold does the water get in the winter?
It's a good question. I'm a bank angler, so I don't even have a boat.
Okay. I would I would definitely think that I could see why the Alabama rig would be an issue for a bank angler then, because you're one cast away from $50.
Yeah.
Definitely suspending jerkbait though. 100%.
Okay.
Have you gotten into the jerkbait thing yet?
I buy them all the time, but then I don't throw them.
Yeah, definitely a high quality jerkbait on 12-pound test fluorocarbon is that. Okay. I know Frank and I have done a ton of wintertime shows, and where he talks about the different types of fisheries and stuff. So if you just like Google the day 4 with Frank Scalish on the wintertime stuff, that's what I would recommend going back and listen to him, because he actually is more experience out there on the West Coast too with it.
Okay.
So.
Well, awesome.
But
thank you.
Anything else?
Not that I can think of.
All right. I appreciate it, Jake. Good luck with your fiber optic cable splicing, fusing.
Yeah, Fusion.
You got to go to like school for that? Is there like a college for working on fiber optic stuff like that?
I'm in the IBEW, the electrical union.
Oh, okay.
And I'm in the sound and comm, so they have the apprenticeship and everything, but it's tedious. I mean, you got strands of glass that are about as big around as a strand of human hair. and let me see if I can get that in there. So get in there, it lines them up, and basically it lines up the strands like this.
Yeah.
And then there's a electrical arc, like a tiny little, like you can see it through the microscope camera. And then it fuses them, and boom, there you go. You got your splice. Transmitting information at the speed of light.
That's fantastic. I'll let you get back to work. Thanks for jumping on, Jake.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me on.
All right, enjoyed it. All right, we've got I see Lincoln, I see Cam, I see Bear. We don't have a picture yet. We're gonna roll with it. What's up, Bear?
Hey,
Bear,
if you're good.
Baron Wisey? What? How do we say that?
Oh yeah, sorry, it's a weird name. It's like Baranovich.
Okay, how we doing?
Yeah,
What's
but you
your
can
name?
say Bear for easier.
Bear. All right. Where are you based out of?
Just in the UK myself.
Oh, nice. Where in the UK? I did the whole we flew into the UK this past summer and then went up and did we rented a car and then we did Scotland and it was epic.
Oh, nice. Right. I'm guessing you went to the north of England then if you got a car and drove up.
Yeah, I think so. It took us a long time to figure out how to drive, but we did it.
Oh, yeah,
It shocked that we could use an American driver's license, and then they'd just be like, "Hey, here's your car," and do everything the opposite. But that's how it works.
Yeah.
So, what are you calling about today?
So. Yeah. So for myself, just the north of England, like Liverpool.
All right. Yeah, we took a train through there. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. You got a question? You got a comment?
Well, with myself, I was just trying to find a stream to jump onto, chat about whatever. So, if you want to ask me anything, I can discuss that with you if you want.
Okay. Do you fish? Are you a fisherman at all? This is a fishing show, and we talk about professional bass fishing in America.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I used to fish myself, but I stopped because the UK has a weird fishing license that you need.
Okay.
Yeah, so I used to fish, but then when they started enforcing the license, that's when I stopped.
Okay. Do you is fishing big over there? So I've gotten into the match fishing, which is big over in the UK, where they have you basically draw for your stake for where you fish, and then you bait all those fish in. Is that something that's like, can you turn on TV? Can you watch that? Is that considered a sport over there? Or is that kind of a niche deal?
So the UK does have its professional fishing elements, but it's not as big as the US. The only difference with the UK and the US is that it's not as publicly broadcasted as it is in the US. It's a big thing in the UK, but it's just you don't see as much of it as you would elsewhere.
Okay. And then also I would assume fishing related, like carp has to be your fish of choice.
Oh yeah,
carp
is one of the very big ones. It does depend on certain regions and certain bodies of water you go to, but carp is the big mainstay.
Yeah. Would you say, just having traveled there and stuff, it seems like it's the access to the water is more difficult than it is in the United States. You travel around here, we've got lakes with dozens of boat ramps on each lake, easy way to dump your boat in. Traveling around, it doesn't seem like many people over in the UK and that part of Europe just have a boat that they own that they can hook up and go dump in the water. It's primarily bank fishing from what I understand.
Yeah, it's in the UK. It's very, very much bank fishing because in the US, obviously bigger nation, there are a lot more bodies of water and especially massive bodies of water in the US. But in the UK, it's as I said, it all depends on region and location. It's mostly small like ponds and stuff that people will go bank fishing. And when it comes to some of the more bigger places in the UK, you have to travel for it, and it can be difficult to travel to.
Yeah. Can I ask you a question, Bear?
Of course.
Do you know what LiveScope is?
No, I don't. Sorry.
Okay. So, this is going to be perfect. So the biggest debate in American bass fishing right now is this technology. And think of it like a TV screen. And there's a transducer that submits a frequency out in front, and it allows you to see real live images. Now, it's not color, it's basically blobs, but you can see what is swimming in front of your boat, just like on a TV screen. And so for 55 years, you would cast, you would have no idea what was under the water. But now, over the last 5 years, this technology exists to where you can cast and you can watch your bait. You can know if there's a fish in the area where you're casting. And some people think that it is an unfair advantage for the anglers to be able to know where the fish are, but other people think that it's an advancement in technology and that there's still a lot of skill involved in trying to figure out where the biggest fish are. And the tournaments are about catching the biggest fish. So having never heard from LiveScope and that short description of it, what do you think? Should professional tournaments in America allow that technology, or should it be banned or limited?
I would say if it comes to like tournament stuff, I would say don't have it, only because if you put like a load of cameras or other stuff to figure out where the biggest fish are or where they usually go, that does give you the advantage. So I would say if you're going to use it in a tournament setting, I would say no. But if you're going to use it in any other setting, I would say, yeah, that's completely fine.
You heard it from the man himself over in the UK, Bear. Thanks for jumping on. That was a great call.
Oh, no problem, mate. Thank you for having me.
All right. Have a good day.
Oh, you too. Take care, Chief.
All right. See ya. Didn't know what to expect on that one. Turned out to be a pretty good call. Lincoln, what's up, man? Oh, no audio for Lincoln. I think.
How about now?
Yeah, I got it now. Did not see that one coming down the pipe, but dude, that was a freaking cool call, wasn't it?
Yeah, who would have thought? I thought for sure he'd be a hardcore carper or something, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, just looking for a chat."
Yeah,
All
no,
right.
I had my finger on the like remove immediately, and then I was like, hey, we're gonna take advantage of this situation. And I thought that was interesting. It's such a small world when you think about it. It's like really hard to get outside of the bubble. That's why I love kind of trying to get different perspectives and things like that. But I mean, he had no idea what it
100%.
was. And all right, what do you
Yeah,
want to chat about
the way
today?
you handled that.
I wasn't sure. The whole show, I have had no idea where it's going today.
Yeah.
What do you want to chat about, Lincoln?
Well, I want to bring it back to fishing, something a little more
Okay.
timely, and I just want to chat about September fishing in natural lakes. I'm up here in Canada, and it just seems like September is so hit and miss. Sometimes you go out and you can't find anything. Sometimes you go out and you have a great fishing day, and you're killing them all day. And just one put and have to show that.
You cut out
Where'd you go?
just a little, but I got you there. So your question was about like kind of just an idea of how to find. So I'm going to go back to a Frank Scala show on day 4, where Frank talks about in the fall when bait fish. I mean, I would assume up there you've got Cisco or Tulabee, or you have shad, or you have perch, bluegill.
No,
like,
there's
what's
not
the
much
main-
in the way of shad. Like unless you're fishing down around the Bay of Quinte or something connected to one of the Great Lakes, it's really natural lakes. You're talking bluegill, minnow species like shiners, perch.
Okay.
A lot of the lakes have gobies, but a lot of times I just find I'm going to a lake cold, no practice, and in September it's just.
Yeah,
Sometimes you
so-
find areas that are just alive, and sometimes you find areas you can't find any life.
Yeah. So Frank's rules for that are you want to find where you see the bait and the perch and whatnot, like what kind of depth they're hanging in. So if they're hanging like say in 14 foot of water, you're going to look for structure in 14 foot of water, and then you're going to look for an intersection of resident fish and pelagic fish. So fish that roam and eat bait fish, where they meet with fish that live in that area, typically in the first third of a creek mouth on a secondary point, something like that. So then you kind of have your starting point, using your 2D, using your side imaging to figure out where that bait is that those fish are eating, and then putting yourself in the highest percentage because you have fish that are feeding up for the fall, for the winter there. So where you have fish that are intersecting, that are chasing the bait, whether it be bluegill, whether it be perch, whether it be a shad, a cisco, something like that, with the fish that live there. And that's kind of your highest percentage areas, typically at an intersection of a creek. Now, a natural lake up there in Canada, I'm sure fishes a little bit differently. But I think that'd be a great show to do with Frank, to actually have him kind of break down on what he would do with that, which we can do on an upcoming Thursday.
Yeah, that would be great to see.
So
There's a lot of Canucks that would tune in for that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I have an
know
idea,
where
but personally, my experience up there is summertime on Canadian lakes or late spawn on Canadian lakes, and then the Great Lakes in the fall. So other than that, I'm not the guy to ask on that, because I know those natural lakes fish, they're a completely different animal from the ones I've experienced in Wisconsin and Minnesota and New York. Like, they work by a different set of rules than a man-made highland reservoir or a dammed up, river or lake in Oklahoma.
Yeah, we're constantly hearing about the shad spawn and what the shad are doing, and we're like,
yep,
shad.
Yeah, we'll do a whole show on lakes with no bait fish, with no shad. We haven't done that yet. I got it. So stay tuned on that. It'll be out on the day 4, probably within the next 3 weeks.
All right, man. Good show.
Thanks, Lincoln. All right, let's head to Cam, who I could tell was listening to our UK with great interest. I think you've called in before, haven't you, Cam?
Yeah, I called in for the classic show.
Yeah, what's going on, man?
I got a couple things. The Netflix show. I think you got something there. I think Swindle has to be on it, though.
Yeah, I would agree, especially after his last couple months. He's got he's definitely got to be in the top.
But I mean, they got Netflix shows on chasing cheese down a hill, so
yeah,
yeah.
I agree. Did you see the one about the guys trying to grow the hottest Scoville pepper in the world?
I never seen it, but I heard you talking about
it. Dude, you have to watch that one. It's like a 6-part series. And then I've literally got on and watched some of the guys' live streams. Like, one guy basically goes through a major life relationship breakup because she thinks he spends too much time talking about peppers. And he's like, hey, I'm a pepper guy. I talk about peppers. And it's interesting stuff. But yeah, I can't picture in my head how they would have I guess they could do it with anything. The right producer has to be with the right guys to get a full understanding of what's going on in it.
Yeah, and I mean, how many people watch every Scott Martin video he puts out?
150,000 plus.
And Milliken, same thing. So why wouldn't you have people that typically don't watch fishing be interested in it? I think it's a thing. I got a question though about the opens here. What's your thoughts on the pros being able to fish it? The guys that are already made the classic, already in the elites, do they actually take someone's spot out of qualifying, or does it just push everyone else down?
So I've always been, if it's a open tournament that you can pay an entry for and get in, no restrictions at any level. If it's a qualifying tournament, like the EQs, I've been vocal that I wasn't a big fan of them letting the Elite Series get into the EQs. But if you're an Elite Series guy who wanted to fish a division of the Opens to qualify for the EQs, have at it. I think it should just and there's not that many guys that are doing it. And yeah, I got nothing against those guys who are doing it. Trust me, I would probably do the same thing if I was in their position. But this year, one of the cool new things that Bassmaster implemented was any Elite Series angler or any that is jackpotting it open, or any local angler that is just fishing one, does not get points. So only the EQ anglers trying to qualify in 2026 will earn Angler of the Year points. So if you have a local that jumps in one and finishes second, they just skip over him for the points. If you have an Elite Series guy that jumps in, but I'm all for Elite Series guys.
EQs though, here coming up. Did they put guys out?
No. They're just fishing for the win and the money. The EQ points only apply to the anglers that were just eliminated from the Elite Series who are trying to get back in, or the EQ anglers.
Yeah. So you're open for it. Make more money.
Yeah, if it's open, have at it. Like I said, if it's a qualifying deal like the EQs or something like that, I think that you have to earn your right into. I don't think you should be able to jump in it. But I love fishing against the Elite Series anglers in the opens. I've had no problem that they take the points. It all kind of averages out depending on where you are. It helps you if you have a bunch of locals that are in that can kind of either get you more points if you finish ahead of them and separate it. But no, I think it's awesome when you can sit there and look over and there's an angler of the year on the Elite Series or a guy who just won an Elite Series tournament who's fishing the Bassmaster Open. That's what it's all about. And with only 8 opportunities for those guys to fish during the year, they want to jump into division, give themselves a chance, especially if they're like on the bubble to requalify. If they want to make sure they have 4 extra opportunities at a Bassmaster Classic, if there's one on their home body of water, have at it. The more the merrier.
For sure. And then my last question to you was, I think I was listening to Pass the Barb. You were on there, 3 weeks ago?
Yep. They get me fired up on that show all the time.
You're coming up here to fish a derby next summer. Was it the Fort Francis Derby or the KBI?
It's the one that has the big tent that's absolutely nuts on Lake of the Woods.
Oh, okay. Rainy Lake is Fort Francis, but they're both 120 plus boat derbies, big tent, big party. Mercer came up and did it a couple times.
Yeah. That's happening. It's over ICAST week next July, middle of July.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it. You think we'll be able to catch one having never been up there before?
Oh, you'll do fine. They got green ones, they got brown ones, whatever you want to fish.
Sweet. I just want to catch giant perch.
Well, they got those too.
I'm such a sucker for perch. And that last one that I fished on Champlain, I got like a day and a half practice in that regional and literally spent a half a day chasing jumbo perch. Boxed like 25 of them, called the tournament director, was like, hey, I'm keeping some perch for dinner. He's like, okay. And I followed one school of perch around like in official practice for at least 3 hours. And just didn't really tell anybody. But oh, dude, they're so good. You can't skin them though. You have to keep the skin on and scale them, and then score it so it doesn't curl up, and then lightly bread them and flay them with the skin on.
My only suggestion is if you're coming up here, if you think you got enough tackle, bring more because the pike will take it all.
Yeah, and I'm a sucker for a good pike bite too, so I don't take it away from them.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're trying to haul them in or you just break them off, end up, put through 15 smeltinators in 2 days and feel good about it.
Have you ever fished like down south in the United States?
No, but I am going to Tennessee in a couple weeks. Should I be fishing?
Yeah. I was just curious because like, I'm assuming you're up in Canada.
Yeah.
And there's like that special feel when you launch a boat on a Canadian lake, like that wilderness. And like, you cannot explain it to anybody when you dump a boat in there and you get out there. It feels right. Like it feels different. It has a different smell. The colors are different. I don't know if you guys experience that because you're from there and that's what you're used to.
Yeah, it's what we grew up doing. So it just
I know. But I would be interested. I was curious, you're up in that God's country, that neck of the woods. And I'd be interested if you come down and fish, like the vibe you get when you dump a boat in on like a Chickamauga or something. If you get like this big bass American feel to it, just like I do, we all do when we go up north and fish.
The one thing I noticed about being in the States is usually you can get up here, you're wearing a sweater. Doesn't matter what time of the year it is. You're wearing a sweater in the morning, maybe even some.
Not here.
You go down there, you walk outside and you start sweating. It's awful.
Yeah. What part of Tennessee?
Johnson City.
I believe there may be a song about that. Have you heard the wagon wheel from Johnson City, Tennessee? I'm not sure where that is, but do you have like an Instagram? If any of our listeners, I don't know what your time schedule, anything is, but if we got any listeners in Tennessee that want to get you out on the water while you're down there, you got an Instagram that they can shoot you a DM?
I don't have Instagram, but Facebook message. If you find me on Facebook, shoot me an email. Find my email on my YouTube, whatever.
Okay. Do you want to say what your YouTube is or anything or not?
Just Camgo Bay.
Okay. CAMGOBAY. Okay. Yeah. If you guys, if there's anybody in Tennessee, what time is it? What time frame? And
on October 18, leaving on the 28th.
I feel like that's a good time of the year to be in Tennessee. I feel like there might be some smallmouth involved in that. You might get some of that big fall bite on the largemouth.
Yeah, could be interesting.
What's your PB largemouth?
My PB largemouth is, there's a lake up here that only has largemouth and pike, and you can go in there and catch them on anything. It's a great lake for taking kids. Take a little four-wheeler and a little boat in there, but I mean, they get to 3-4 pounds.
So you've never caught a 5-pound largie?
Oh no, I haven't even 5 pounds.
We got to hook Cam up. If anybody's in East Tennessee, there around that Johnson City, Cam, CAMGOBAY.
Yeah, let's do it.
That's your YouTube
yeah, I think so. You
channel, yeah, you can find him, look him up, and all right, that'll work. Anything else, man?
No, my coffee break's over. I got to get back to pulling wrenches.
Thanks, dude. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, that was a heck of a show. That was the BTL on a Wednesday. I had to go get a tire, put on a new wheel, make a couple calls, and then I think I am going to hit the water today. Let me know if you like these kind of random shows. We had a lot of listener feedback, anglers, tournaments, all over the map. But I kind of enjoyed it. If you want me to jump into this once every month, once every couple months, let me know, and I would be totally game to do that. So we're still in that time of the year. There's still people on. The BTL merch store is only open through the 21st, and today is the 17th. So if you wanted to order any Bass Talk Live merchandise, basstalklive.com. I'll pull it up here real quick. And then you literally just click on the BTL merch store, go down. You've got all the Frank Scalish stuff. These is like the structural element is the one-time drop. There's only 100 of the patches available. Got all the BTL stuff for the fall, for the summer. Only 100 of the PVC plastic patch circle hats. BTL. We've got the neoprene koozies out there. So if you guys are looking on that, I'd open that up once every couple years or couple. Let me just start that sentence over. I do that twice a year is what I was trying to say. So, all right, this has been another edition of Bass Talk Live. Same time, same place tomorrow. Frank Scalish. I'm going to say 3 words here. From the water. Potentially. Frank Scalish from the water, potentially. Kind of depends on what his signal is like. Otherwise, he's going to be probably pretty bitter in the studio, wishing he was on the water. We'll talk to everyone tomorrow. See ya.